All right, let's see. Why does it say I'm live? I haven't hit the fucking live button yet. Am I live? Better not be. Are you kidding me, man? I mean, the screen's fixed, I guess there's that. All right, I gotta change all this stupid stuff before stuff happens. Hey, Abby, how you doing? So the stream started automatically when I checked I found the button in the original settings at the very start to switch the screen. That worked. Unfortunately, as soon as I was like, okay, I'm ready, I press a button, and there should be a start button after that. No start button, just went right into the stream, so I'm not ready yet. So this is gonna take like a minute. Sorry guys. YouTube is a tire fire inside a dumpster fire inside a cage of rabid raccoons. So stupid. Live. That's what I'm doing live. I need to get the description from my last video, drag it over to this video, change the thumbnail for this. So stupid. So stupid. So stupid. So stupid. Why did you guys just put me right into the video? Like, I don't understand. All right. All right, let's get rid of that. Let us get rid of this. Nope, can't get rid of it there. Never mind, disregard. Sorry this is taking extra long because YouTube is a moron. Okay, is everything else? No, I haven't changed the thumbnail. Oh, man. Why did it just start with no warning? Like, what is that stupidity? You know what I'm saying? Hey? I just gotta do a little more house cleaning, and then I gotta send out the link for this one because the last one now doesn't work. Yeah, thanks, Lionel. Hey, heroes. Hey, Abby. I just have to do a couple more cleanups on this. Delete forever. Yes. No sense having a video that's 4 minutes long. And then I just gotta send this link out to the earth. Copy link. Everything is one extra step more than I need it to be. You're watching a grown man nearly cry over the internet. This is stupid. I went to go cut and paste text from a tweet I'd already made to put it in a tweet that I'm making. Twitter doesn't want me doing that. I had to go open up a new tab to do it again. Just one extra step more than it needs to be. Discard this. Thank you. I can go delete mode. Delete. I will be with you eventually, people. Just think of this as the pre-game show. This is so stupid. I have other rants about YouTube today, and this isn't helping their case. I'll say that. All right, let's delete the other post I made on here. That one's got to be deleted. Then I got to delete the post on YouTube Stupid. So stupid. So stupid. Posts. Yeah, that's bye-bye. But this is hello, hello. Okay. I think I'm caught up on everything. All right. Now I just have to open up the tab so I can read chat. Because if I look at my phone, the chat disappears after a second or two. So I have to pull up a actual YouTube tab on my computer to see what everyone is saying. Okay. Ad is running. Let's take these off. I don't need these anymore. Actually, I need to hear how well it sounds. Is it? Yeah, it works perfectly fine. I do have to move this for a second to get this off. All right. Okay, all right. Minor technical difficulties aside, I am here. I just need to move these into a more comfortable position. There we go. All right. I am here in this mode. Chaos. All right. I know I said hello already to some people. I'll say them again in case I missed anyone. Hello, Abby. Hello, Heroes. Hello, Lionel. Seems to be working. Yes, it does. So what is the audio issue I'm having with StreamYard? It is insanely crackly. Like, it is literally unusable. Like 101% unusable. I can use it to record video. Like I did a video the other day about a GeoGuessr thing. I recorded the video on StreamYard, but I had to record the audio with my camera and then lay over the audio from the camera onto that to make the video. But I can't do a live stream like that because the audio is the problem. It sounds like, I don't know how to describe it. It is aggressively crackly. Like, it is unusable. It is unlistenable. Yeah, it is just garbage on top of garbage. Unfortunate, but that is how it is. Have I been watching Gen V Season 2? Not yet. It kind of came out at a time where I wasn't really, like, noticing. Like, before I noticed, there was already, like, 4 episodes out. And I'm like, oh, I guess I got to catch up on that. So I'll just wait till the season's over, probably, and catch up on it. But yeah, I haven't watched any of it yet. Now that Peacemaker's over, maybe I do catch up. I don't know. I nearly cry every time I have a computer problem because I'm terrible when it comes to even basic computer stuff. I'm kind of that way. It's kind of funny because when I was a teenager, I actually took computer courses because it was a new technology back then, and I was excellent at it. Like, I could conceivably have built websites back in my teens and 20s. That 94% of that knowledge is lost on me now, you know. So yeah, that is a problem. Also, because I'm not using StreamYard, guys, I can't bring posts up on chat. So if someone has a question or a super chat, I cannot bring it up. Why is that not a feature, YouTube? Why don't you have that feature? How do you guys not have that feature in 2025? Actually, wait, there's a top chat. There's a live chat. Is there a way to do that now? I feel like people, I've seen people do that. No, there is not. Okay. I imagined that. Wonderful. All right. We will start off quickly by just addressing Diane Keaton passed away today. Dude, I'm not using StreamYard. I can't bring this up. I can't bring up things I had set to put in the stream because StreamYard. Fuck you, StreamYard. And honestly, fuck you, YouTube, for not having these options as well. both of you get a fuck you. So Diane Keaton, who won the Academy Award back in 1978 for Annie Hall, and has had a whole lot of other hits since then, but most of them you probably aren't terribly familiar with because, you know, she's, you know, a bit older of an actress now. She was also, you know, in The Godfather Part 2, Godfather, what else? Just looking at her resume to tell you, because I can't bring it up on screen. Those are probably the only ones like this chat would be too familiar with. She's had a lot of hits that are more not, you know, pop culture-y hits. But she passed away today, so, you know, condolences to her family, friends, other fans. And yeah. All right. All right. I will get to Peacemaker in a few. I'm just going to see a few more people drag themselves in here before I get to it, just because I had to restart the stream and all that, like the chaos, you know. Give a couple more minutes to a couple people to find it, because they might be looking at the old tab and be like, I don't understand. But Chainsaw Reacts thinks he should play Barry Allen. I'm going to be honest, Chainsaw. I don't know how to say this without hurting your feelings. I think you'd make a better Iris. How do you feel about being Iris West? Just throwing it out there. Or a Felicity Smoke. You think you could pull off Felicity? Do you have the computer skills to be a Felicity? Could have an opening for Felicity in the future. You like Peacemaker season 2, although like season 1 more? Fair enough. I will get into that when I get to that in a few minutes. I'm just dragging my heels and talking about Peacemaker in hopes that it... Cool. I can't bring up the tweet to show you the problem I had with YouTube, so I'm just going to have to click it. I'm going to have to post it in chat, and you guys are just going to have to look along with me. So I posted a YouTube short the other day. Nothing, you know, entertainment-wise. It was just, I noticed Science World, which is it's the building where they had the Star Wars lightsaber fight in The Flash. That building was lit up orange the other day, so it looks like a large pumpkin, and I just thought it was kind of funny. So I posted that as a short, just, you know, to throw some content out there. There's the tweet, so you can see the timeline I'm talking about for the thing. So in there, you can see I posted a short. I even have like an arrow pointing to the time that it was posted. You can see the immediate rise in traffic. Then it slowed down a little, but that's because that was the middle of the night. That was like 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. area. Then you see it starts to rise again as the day starts. Going fine. 4 hours in a row, traffic was up. Then it just died. Just completely died. Now, this is my overall traffic. This isn't just the one video. This is my overall traffic, but it was powered by that one specific video that was new and fresh. Literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 hours after the post, it just vanished. Just no one ever saw it again. And I'm not just talking like no one ever saw it. I'm talking, I went into the analytics of that individual video. In that 4 hour span that you see that I have circled, every hour of that, it was averaging more than 100 views an hour. Not amazing work, but it's on the rise. The lowest it had was 104 views in an hour. It took, how long do you think it took to get my next 100 views after that drop off? I'll wait a minute and see if anyone's got a prediction in chat. Remember, that graph is hour by hour. So when you're looking and you're seeing all those numbers, that's hour by hour. How many hours do you think it took me to get my next 100 views from a video that was averaging 100 views an hour? Give you like 10 seconds while I take a drink here. 10 hours, 6 hours. That's adorable, guys. Your combined hours still doesn't match it. 22 hours it took to get another 100 views on that video. Sorry, I actually stand corrected. No, I stand, that was 22 hours for videos across all of my videos to get 100 views. That specific video only got 11 more views in that time. It was averaging 100 plus views an hour for the 4 hours following up the ghosting of the video, and it has only had 11 more views in 22 hours after that. And my entire channel only had 100 more views after that. Make that make any sense at all on anything ever. I brought that up to YouTube, and YouTube, I mean, if you've got the tab open, you can see they're like, if you're referring to views, note that getting views can depend on viewers' interest. Sure, absolutely. In long-term format, absolutely. If this was a graph of day by day, 100% a valid thing. And it goes, and current popular trends. Well, this wasn't a popular trend. It was literally a video showing that this ball looks like a pumpkin. It wasn't current. Halloween hasn't started yet. This drop-off wasn't November 1st at midnight. Like, it's not a current trend. Here are some tips, blah, 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 cookie cutter response. So I replied back to him, like, the 4 hours circle, the average views are about 120 and not a single hour under 100. Do you know how many hours it took to get the next 100 combined views? Not in 1 hour, 22. That's not current popular trends. That's getting shadow blocked or something. And then I had a follow-up tweet. It goes, on the video that was leading that push. On the video that was leading that push was 114 views in the last hour of the spike. It has 10 views in the last 36 hours. Oh, I was wrong. It's 10. Well, 10 according to my tweet. I swear I counted 11, but maybe I miscounted. In the last 36 hours, by the way, is not 22. That was 36 hours of counting. It only had 10 views, or 11. You just straight up, after about 10 to 12 hours, it was 13. Come on, get your facts straight, Canada graphs. Orso, okay, I added an Orso. Stopped showing the videos to people despite its viewership growing. Then they're like, we sent you a DM. And in their DM, they said, the issue is best solved via email. So as a next step, head to this website. They give you a link and they want to verify that you are who you are, blah, 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 blah. How is the next issue solved by email? You guys are the company. You guys, it's literally your website. You don't need me to fix your website. I can't do it. I have no skills in that. It's your website. You're the ones that decided that you're going to stop showing this video to people. It just dropped right off like this and just went boom, right into the ground, zero. That's not me. I didn't do anything. I didn't click any buttons going stop showing this video. You guys did. Not on me. Why do I need to contact you about this? And why do you want to do it in private? Why are you not willing to do it publicly? YouTube, man, I tell you. Yeah, 10 hours, 6 hours. Those are adorable numbers. I need another water. I'm gonna have to go water shopping again today. Almost out. Actually, I still had some left. I hadn't finished it yet. Oops. So yeah, there was that. So anyways, I'm also in the market for a replacement for StreamYard. I even went and looked at a video telling me other replacement options, and I'd found one that looked promising. Then I went to go try it, and they had there was a box that you had to check to like do something that had really suspicious wording that I did not like. So I didn't do it. So I have not yet found a actual replacement for one. But yeah, all right. Now, maybe we talk about the fact, Arrow. Did you know that Arrow turned 13 this week? And the Arrowverse turned 13 this week? Or technically, the Arrowverse might have even turned 11, depending where you count the Arrowverse as starting. If you count the Arrowverse as starting when a second show joined, because that would now be a verse, then it's 11 years, because The Flash also had their pilot debut the same week, 11 years ago. But Arrow was 13 years ago yesterday. So, yeah, it's been that long since these shows have started now, guys. Arrow would be graduating elementary school. I don't know. I don't know what the ages are anymore because they've changed the school system since I was in it. When I was in school, it used to be kindergarten to 7 and then grade 8 to 12, but I've seen different formats of it now. But yeah, congratulations, Arrow, on graduating, or maybe, I don't know what the age bracket is anymore. All right, let's get on to Peacemaker. Arrowverse turning 13. Let's just not discuss that one show turning 10. Let's just not discuss that one show turning 10. Legends? No, that was in January. And it hasn't turned 10 yet. Supergirl hasn't turned 10 yet either. What the fuck turned 10? I can't think of another show that would be 10 this year. No, Supergirl. Oh. Okay. So you jumped the gun and you said Supergirl even though it hasn't turned 10 yet. Okay. I follow now. Okay. Yeah. It doesn't turn 10 for a couple more weeks. You have time to buy it a nice little special 10th anniversary gift. I know you probably want to send Melissa something special. Big fan. But yeah. I miss the Arrowverse. We'll never see anything like that again. No, we won't. Yeah. Speaking of universes, the DC current universe. So Peacemaker had a season finale this week. I'll let you guys also tell me what your immediate opinion is of it, but I will just say, not impressed. That's how I would put it. Not impressed. I know, let's send her to Salvation. Yeah, well, honestly, if she was in Salvation, Peacemaker might have a chance of getting out, because when that door opens, she'd be able to fly through because she's that fast. Abby gives it a 4 out of 10. Heroes gives it a 5 out of 10. You guys are right in the ballpark. I also gave it a 5. And you guys are regulars in my channel. I usually grade things that I watch pretty highly. Like, it is rare I give something below an 8. And this is a 5. I didn't hate it, but it wasn't a good finale. I really loved some of the moments in this episode, and that's why it bugs me that I have to give it such a low grade. But yeah, I mean, let's be honest. At the end of the day, it's not a good episode for a finale. Why am I so off center? It's an awful episode for a finale. For an episode, if it was just an episode in the season and there was still episodes to come to wrap out this season, I would probably then give it like a 7 or an 8. Like, I think it's a good episode as an individual episode in a season. It's still maybe a 7 or an 8. But for the finale of the season, atrociously poor. They really needed to follow up on the Earth X shit, have Keith and Earth X Vigilante come through to our Earth and face off, help Peacemaker respectively. That would have been more satisfying. Yeah, of course it would have been. I mean, we know he's going to come back at some point. He didn't die at the end, and the code wasn't changed on the door because his dad died before he had a chance to change it. So we know Keith will eventually show up probably sometime in season 3, which we'll get to talking about season 3 in a bit. So let's look at why this season. So I made a tweet to Chainsaw, who was in chat earlier, talking, and I had said about this season. Season 1, I consider a 10. I think that was an amazing, perfect, great season. Are there individual flaws in it? Sure. But as an overall piece of content, I call it a 10. This season, episodes 1 through 7, I would give about an 8. Maybe an 8.25. And then the finale, like I said, I give it a 5. So the overall season is like a 7, 7.5 because of that finale. I understand the logic of setting up your next season. I do understand that being a thing. We've seen lots of shows do it before, where they end on a angering cliffhanger to set up the next season. We've all seen Legends of Tomorrow had their people go to jail. They just didn't know there wasn't going to be another season. So we've seen shows leave cliffhangers that make you annoyed and pissed off, but this one's a new level. I don't think it worked well with the story they built throughout the season. Their story this season was kind of mostly about moving on and redemption for their lives. We had a lot of story about Harcourt and the shit she's going through. We had Leota's story. Vigilante was kind of just there. Economos even had some of that. He had to decide whether he sticks with his job or sticks with the 11th Street kids. And then, of course, Chris went through all sorts of that all season. And to have that season end where they finally have that moment where the team builds with like new members of the team, which we'll also get to that. That should have been the end point of the season because it would have wrapped out the story that seemed to be building about, your past and all that. Just dealing with it, moving on, and growing from it. But it didn't. They had to throw in that last 15 seconds, no, longer than 15 seconds, 45 seconds at the end. That kind of ruined it. And I don't think it was still a great episode or great finale without that. I think without that last 45 seconds, it's still maybe about a 7 or an 8. But that last 45 seconds was so damaging to the rest of it that it really fell off. I also didn't understand there's a couple things that pissed me off about this episode of content that they put in. One was, why did we need the Nelson concert? Why? I understand it's to show the boat thing. And by the way, it's very clever writing because everybody and their dog's fleas assumed they did more than kiss on the boat. We all just assumed that was the case. Not a single person on the planet was like, oh, maybe they just kissed. We all thought more. And they really got us with that one. And it was well done. Great way to like deviate from everyone's like thought. There's a term for it that I can't remember right now. I think that was really well done. But we had like 30 seconds of the episode spent on the faces of Nelson. Now, I know who Nelson is because I'm old as fuck, but 80% of the people watching this had no idea who they were watching and why were they highlighted characters. Why were we showing close-ups of them? That was just wasted screen time. And my thing fell off. That was just wasted screen time. So stupid. This is like James Gunn's dumbest thing. Why? Why are you wasting this screen time on rockers that nobody outside of like 4% of your audience knows? And more than that, like that whole scene, I think was like 4 minutes of screen time. They could have wrapped that up in about a minute and a half. Do you need to have a little bit play out there before the kiss? 100%. You absolutely need to layer it a little bit so that the kiss isn't like a 19-second piece of video. But it was 4 minutes to build up to that. And like 30 seconds or more of that was spent showing us the band. They showed a close-up of the guitar player's fucking guitar being played. Not of his face, of the fucking guitar. What the fuck does that have to do with the show? Make that make any sense at all? Like at all? Sorry, I gotta catch up on chat. I will get more to that in a minute. If this season would have landed, I would have given it an 8, but because of the finale didn't land, I think I'd have to lower it to a 6 overall. Fair enough. So Flag never talked to Earth X Flag, other brother not appear, etc. So many things were missing or not. Get done. Yeah. The whole Earth X thing, gone. Just, whew. They ghosted that like YouTube did to my video. Like, woo, gone out the window. Never even thought again. I think Peacemaker's arc this season was good, but the finale felt more like the setup for a larger DCU story. Yeah, I've heard a lot of people talking about, this is a setup for the Superman 2. It's got a title, I can't remember what it's called. Man of Tomorrow. And so what? So what if it is? It shouldn't be. It just should not be a setup. I vividly recall, like a year ago, when Superman was in production, I vividly recall somewhere James Gunn telling somebody, I can't remember what production it or what blog it was or whatever, you don't have to watch one piece of content to follow the next one. I vividly remember that conversation happening where he said, you don't need to watch this to know what's going on over here. You can just watch this and it'll still make sense. That's bullshit. That's literal bullshit. If you didn't watch the Superman movie, you don't know why Lex Luthor's in prison. You don't know who Sidney Happerson is. You don't know who Otis is. You don't know these characters. You don't know why they're interesting to other people. And you don't know anything about the metahuman story. You know nothing about Rick Flag. Rick Flag has been on now 3 different things. He was on Creature Commandos, which I didn't watch, so I had no idea who he was before Superman. And I've seen other people talking about it in their reaction videos, talking about how he was a much different character in Creature Commandos. I don't know that Rick Flag. I only know the piece of shit Rick Flag. That's the only Rick Flag I know. Oh, sorry, I'm talking about Senior, by the way, not Junior. That's the only Rick Flag I know, because that's the only thing I've seen of him as being a utter piece of shit. But apparently in Creature Commandos, he was a much different character. James Gunn is fucked up bad on that, if that's the case. I don't know why he did, but he did. I saw a theory on a reaction video. I think it was Cinepals. I'll get to that in a minute. I don't think it's true, but it would make a lot of sense on why some stuff happened. The amount of times a song appeared honestly made it horrible edit for reactions. Oh, 100%, yeah. Reactors must have been frustrated. Although I've noticed most reactors really are getting so used to dealing with music in shows that they have learned to just mute out the background noise and still pull out the frontal noise when they need to. So, seems to be getting a little easier for reactors. Probably new technology. I think Chris's arc of not blaming himself Was rushed as well after last week's realization that he was to blame for everything. I thought Leota's talk with him was great, but I don't think it's enough. I thought Leota's talk was amazing, and I do think it should be enough. When she pointed out that, like, all the people you've killed is because other people told you to do it, that should have been enough in my mind. Yeah. It was 57 minutes and 48 seconds. How much do you think was used well? Half? You know? Yeah. I'll try to catch up to the rest of the chat after this. I'm just going to put a thing in chat so that I know where I am in the chat. I will clear off these last two, and then I'll get back to what I was talking about. James said that. James said that. I think it was same time he said he hated Marvel post-credits setting up next projects. Oh, okay. Yeah, I was sure I remembered hearing him say it somewhere. I couldn't remember where, though. I think Rick Flag Sr. being a shill for Lex Luthor is a disgrace considering his son literally died for not being... Yes, 101,000%. That didn't hit me right away. I didn't have that feeling until this morning when I was watching the reaction video, and it wasn't anything the reactors said. The reactors didn't say anything that tipped me off to thinking that. Just finally the thought crossed my head independently. Rick Flag Jr. died because he was fighting governments trying to hide their, like, secrets and that. And he died for honor, and fucking Rick Flag Sr. couldn't be further from that. He is one of the most dishonorable characters in superhero history. Yeah, like, I know people have been saying in other reaction videos that Rick Flag Sr. was a great guy on Creature Commandos. Guess what? I never watched Creature Commandos. You know what I know of Rick Flag? He is a fucking utter piece of shit who deserves a fucking beatdown. I would love to see the 11th Street kids just grab him and beat the fuck out of him. Like, that is what he deserves. Yeah. But yeah, the whole irony of him being the very thing his son died trying to fight is just mind-blowing. So we had the concert. Then later on, we had a second concert with Foxy Shazam. Now, that one I'm not nearly as upset with because they were the song of the season. And I do think it, over time, hearing some of the lyrics and thinking about it, kind of fits the season. I did not like the song when it first came into the season. I thought it didn't vibe as well as the first season intro. But as we have gone through the season, I've become a little more tolerant of it. I still think the first one was better. Whatever. But yeah, we get now a second concert with Foxy Shazam at the helm. Less screen time for Foxy Shazam than there was for Nelson. A band none of the people watching the show probably know, but know Foxy Shazam because of the intro song. The Foxy Shazam one wasn't nearly as bad, but because we'd already had Nelson earlier, it was weird, and it didn't eat up nearly as much time as the Nelson one. The Nelson one was just trash. Nelson should be embarrassed they were even asked to be there. But the Foxy Shazam one did at least the stuff going on off screen, off the Foxy Shazam video, and we see the 11th Street kids doing their thing to the tune of the song. At least stuff was going on in there. So not nearly as bad, but again, a time waster for a second concert. You take out the Nelson one and the Foxy Shazam one's not bad. But you add the Foxy Shazam one after the Nelson one, and you're just like, why are you wasting so much screen time on this? I didn't know this was hosted by MTV. For those of you who are children around here, MTV is a station that used to actually play music videos, which is why it stood for music television. I realize now it's where you go to watch like gossipy reality shows, but it used to actually be a good station. Yeah. There was something I said I was going to pick up on and talk about like 2 minutes ago, and I've already forgot what it was. Looking through the things I read, hoping that it'll jog my memory. I don't see it. Unfortunately, I don't remember what it was. So yeah, we had those moments. We also had at near the start of the, actually right at the start, I think it was, when Chris sings to Harcourt. Again, not bad. I think that was fine. But when you start to look at the theme of the episode, we had that singing piece, then we had Nelson, then we had Foxy Shazam. It feels like James Gunn wants to be a music video producer instead of a TV show producer. I don't know. Director, I meant. Sorry. You know what I meant. Yeah. All right. I'm going to catch up to chat a little bit, then I'll talk about other parts of the episode. How do we feel in regard to Flag? Has he gone too dark? Oh, he's super dark. One of the darker characters I've seen. The episode originally ended on the slow-mo walkout of the team from their new checkmate business. Gunn said in the after show podcast, Peter Safran convinced him to add the last part. Fuck Peter Safran. Peter Safran, if you ever get to see this, you're a fucking moron for doing that. And I don't care. You can have a fucking Mensa level IQ. You're still a moron. You ruined an above average episode and brought it down to below average because you wanted to set up something for another show or movie or project. You fucking loser. Thank you for your time. Wow. I didn't know that. That's even worse. With Flag tossing Peacemaker into Salvation. Yeah, okay, I see that was the follow-up. I already knew where it was going. That episode had a theme. Yeah, the episode was James Gunn wants to make music videos. I don't know how you missed it. Did say that about the ending? Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. I can't believe James Gunn threw Peter Safran under the bus like that. Wow. Yeah, those are the decisions Peter Safran is making. Fucking throw the guy out. I realize he's a money guy. Fucking throw him. Fucking throw him. Throw him in the fucking throw him in Salvation, man. That guy's a fucking idiot if that is the type of decisions he's making. You are a producer. You're a fucking money guy. You are not a writer. You're not a director. You are not an actor. You're a fucking money guy. You sit there, fucking give out the check, you loser, and let the people who know how to make the content make the fucking content the way they want to make the fucking content. You're a fucking money guy. The only fucking use you have is you probably fucking were birthed into money. That's probably the only skill you bring to this. I'm upset that James caved in, honestly. That is pretty infuriating to know. Also, Gunn said there was going to be a very big cameo in the finale. I was assuming it would be Harley Quinn or Bloodsport. I guess it was the singers. Yeah, he did oversell the cameo. Grossly oversold. I actually owe Danielle Nicolette an apology. She is not the worst fucking overseller in the history of cameos. Remember when she oversold Neil McDonough? Neil McDonough, 25 times more important than Nelson. I had to give Danielle Nicolette an apology on here. So now me and Canada Grabs are deciding who should be in the Salvation. Yeah. I'll let you throw in Supergirl there if I get to throw in Peter Safran. The only problem is by you throwing in Supergirl, you realize you are giving them the skills to possibly get out. Just warning. She's fast and strong enough to possibly get through there before the door closes. I think you're going to talk about season 3, although Gunn is indicating his post-mortem interview that there are no plans. Yeah, I will get to that. We haven't actually finished talking about the whole episode yet. I did hear that snippet from Gunn, by the way. I did hear that. All right, after Abby's chat, I'll get back to talking. Caught up to here. Or Heroes as well. Also nitpicking, but how in the span of a week did they launder enough drug money to buy a whole building with it? Didn't need to launder it. Just put it into a bank account that needs to have that type of thing, or just straight up cash. There's lots of people out there that will just take cash. So yeah, me and you making Salvation jokes is too funny. Okay, all right. Next thing we'll talk about some of the character moments, because the thing this episode did really well is some great character moments. Leota and her partner Kia officially break up. I saw one reactor who was. And to be fair, I understand. Season 1 was 3 or 4 years ago. I understand. But they were confused why anyone cared about these characters, because they said we've only seen her once before in the first episode of the season. And I'm like, she was in like 3 or 4 episodes of season 1. In the intro dance, people have short memory spans, man. But yeah, they finally break up, and that was a great speech. And I think it's really brutally honest, and I think it's a thing a lot of people, when they hear it, might be that thing that gives them the strength to get out of a situation that they know isn't working for them, because they've probably never heard it put that way by other people. It is brutally true that you could, in theory, love somebody and realize this isn't going to work out. Yeah, they both care about the other person, but realize that other person's needs aren't going to align with theirs. Excellent, amazing scene. Danielle Brooks, and I unfortunately forget the name of the actress that plays Kia. 10 out of 10 job on that scene. Then we had, of course, Chris and Harcourt at the diner, and then outside the motel when she finally tells him that it did matter. Great scene. And I love that we didn't get... There's a thing that always happens. They do it especially with, kick-ass females, where when they finally have an emotional moment, they break a little. They either tear up a little or they cry a little. She didn't. And I really appreciate that decision. Inside, she's, having her breakdown emotionally. But on the surface, she held it together. And I think that's how it would probably play out in real life if you had someone of Harcourt's personality. But most times when you have a character of that personality, have a moment like that where they, acknowledge their feelings for someone, they usually play it down, they start crying or whatever. I like that they didn't. We also then had Adebayo and the rest of the 11th Street kids with Chris in the hotel room, where they tell him how much he means to them and how much they've risked to help him. Another great moment. There was, I think, a couple more that I'm trying to think of that stuck out with me. We had we had the moment where Nelson was playing, and we got to see a close-up of a guitar solo. That brought something to somebody out there. Sorry, I just, it crossed my mind for a second, and I'm like, I'm still mad about that. But yeah, overall, I think personal moments were amazing. We had Bordeaux finally realizing, I don't think I want to be part of what I'm doing right now. When they were having that talk in the conference room with the government people, and Flag. Oh, that's the thing I was going to talk about earlier. Oh, that just crossed my mind again. And that she finally had that realization, like, I think I'm not doing good here. Like, she was starting to feel it when all the people were getting terrorized in the alt dimensions and dying. You could see it was affecting her. She finally had that breakthrough moment there, and then, she calls Harcourt, and they start everything that leads up to checkmate. And so the thing that just remembered. So this is the theory that someone had on one of the reactions. I do not think it is true, but it would make so much sense for everything that happened. They said, and they seemed serious about it at the time, and I do not believe this is true. But, as I said, when you think of everything that happened, you kind of be like, could it be? He said, this is Michael, I don't remember how to say his last name, Booth or Luce or something like that, on Cinepals. He said, that's Lex Luthor wearing Rick Flag's face. And it makes so much sense. Except for the very last scene where they throw Chris in Salvation, and you see that, like, satisfaction on Rick's face. Everything else up to that point, you could legitimately, like, is this Lex Luthor? Because the one guy from the government even says, when they're in the conference room, he's like, in this very room a month ago, you were like, shit talking Luthor, and now here you are cheerleading for him. And yeah, that is an aggressive 180. And he talked so angrily about metahumans that you kind of wonder, right? Like, I know it's not a real thing. At least it shouldn't be. But, unless he's Christopher Chance. But it made me think for a minute when he said it. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. And then it wasn't until he threw Chris in Salvation that I'm like, okay, no, this is actually Rick. Like, there was part of me throughout part of the episode that was like, he's onto something. But yeah, so yeah, we had the great personality moments with the characters. We had Sasha, and we had Flurry and Judo Master all join the team that is now known as Checkmate. I don't know how they came up with that name, but cool. I realize it's something to do in the comics, and that's fine, but at no time in the 8-episode season or 16 episodes overall has the word checkmate or chess ever come up. Why is that your name? So yeah, I love that. I loved Flurry also having his realization moment when the guy that he was making fun of dies in front of him. He also had that moment where he's like, you can see it on his face, like, I don't think we're doing good here. Everybody came to that moment eventually. Yeah. So let's also talk about the alternate dimensions. Give me your favorite one, your least favorite one, and the one you would be most willing to go through the door first to, not including Salvation, although we now know there might be dinosaurs there. Which one would you be, if they're like, you have to go through one of these doors first? Which one are you going through first? And which one was your favorite? Which one was your least favorite? And what's one you wish you had seen them like enter? Like something you know that's out there in the DC like stratosphere of dimensions. You're like, oh, I can't believe they didn't bring up this one. There's got to be one. I mean, I wouldn't know it because I don't follow this stuff enough, but I'm sure one of you guys does. Why is my camera tilting? All right, I'm gonna catch back up to chat while you guys yap out your opinions. I thought the scene was good for leotard. Leotard. Why? I see you corrected it 2 posts later. I do see that. But leotard, man. I see. I thought the scene was good for Leota's character, but I thought it was given too much screen time given how much ground should have been covered in the finale. Oh, sure. I think it would have actually been really good for episode 6 or 7 for that to have landed. But I have no problem with it in the finale. I don't actually have a problem with it in the finale because the finale was a finale to a season where we see characters learning about themselves and dealing with their past. So that is part of her past. That is part of her dealing with herself. So I don't actually have a problem with it in the finale. But I do think maybe, yeah, screen time wise, maybe it could have been used better. Leotard, man. Why? Why? I forgot her name, but Peacemaker's best friend in MVP of this season, she is the heart. Leota, yeah. Or Leotard, as Abby is now gonna call her. Why, man? I know it's spell check probably, but why? Why spell check? Why? Why would you do that? What psychological words would even apply to the girl that Peacemaker likes? What psychological words would even apply to the girl that... I don't quite understand the question, sorry. Thoughts on the Candy Planet scene that ended up with the guy getting terminated? So I think that's the universe that Augie was referencing in episode 1 when he was talking about the imps and Chris was out there playing with them and eating candy or something. I think that's the one he's talking about. Why were they so aggressive now if he was out there hanging with them the last time? Or were they just realizing this group coming in could be a threat and Chris wasn't a threat because he was a kid? I don't know. I could even be wrong. It could be a different dimension. But yeah, those things are scary as fuck, obviously. Do not want to interact. How can that actually be Lex? I said I don't believe it, but it makes sense when you thought about all the details except for the very final scene. The very final scene is the point where you're like, okay, that's just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Not unless he's wearing a Lex skin. Well, Flag is off doing Flag things, and they both are out there doing stuff. No, but seriously, like it was a great theory, but it is one that has low probability of reality. Agreed about the great character stuff. Yeah, it was a very character-heavy finale, and it probably shouldn't have been. Yeah. Low-key, maybe Rick Flag Sr. was switched because Rick Flag seemingly forgot that he told Harcourt. Yeah, that was another thing that made me suspicious of that theory. That was another thing that made me suspicious of that theory was when Amelia goes to him and goes, General or Colonel or whatever the fuck his name is, and then she's like, sorry, Rick. And he's like, what? And you're like, you told me to call you Rick. He's like, yeah. Like, that adds on to that theory. But as I said, that final end scene takes away everything that theory has built up to that point, unless both of them are out there. Worst door was the black hole, and best would be the zombie. Okay. I wanted that vampire-looking door to be the same vampire planet Breacher went to in the Flash TV. You mean... I remember Breacher's character, but I don't remember a vampire world he went into. But I assume that's a real thing because I'm just forgetting it. But okay. You like the zombie world? Made me think of DC's Deceased comics. I heard a reactor reference Deceased. I don't know it, obviously. As you know, my comic reading days have never started. Um, but okay, all right, okay. For me, I think the one I would go through first, just because I think there's a better chance of getting out of there alive, would be the skeleton spider leg world. Because I don't think they would do super fast at catching you. I think I could get out of there. Hey, Marcos, welcome. How you doing? I think there's a better chance of getting out of there than some of the other ones. The zombie one, you could get bit in 1 second. Obviously, the Candyland one, we see what happens there. Is there a fourth world besides Salvation? I feel like there's a fourth world. Candyland, zombies, spiders, black hole. Yeah, obviously you don't want to be first through the black hole either. So yeah, I think the spider one is the one I'd go into first, just because I think their chance of catching you very easily is lower. Yeah. So there was one more thought I had about the episode, and I'm kind of blanking on what it was now. Got sidetracked on this too much. I gotta put in another message so that I know where I am in chat. Caught up to here. Typically, the Phantom Zone is where all the metahumans are locked up. I'm wondering if the black hole dimension is where the Phantom Zone is. Okay. That's possible. And the episode where Breacher asks Cisco to fix his powers. Okay, I mean, I vaguely remember some of that, but I can't 100% say I remember a vampire world. Hey Marcos, I know you're from Portugal, but I would prefer things in English, although I do have Google Translate open on my tabs at all times, so let's see what you're trying to say. You're still doing live streams of GeoGuessr? Very rarely. When I do, it's usually on Twitch, and it's usually for a competitive purpose. Like if I'm playing, there's a league I'm in on there. Once in a while I'll do one on there, but I haven't done a GeoGuessr stream on here in eons. But I will consider doing one someday. I have considered it. I have considered doing one, but I haven't pulled the plug on doing it yet. Maybe someday. Right now it hasn't happened though. Like the last stream I did, GeoGuessr related, with any content would have been on, last like 3 or 4 have probably been on Twitch, and they were all for league games that I was playing. They weren't like play along formats. So yeah. Hope you're doing well, by the way, man. All right. What was the other thing I was thinking of in this episode? Yeah, the lack of action. We didn't have a great fight scene. We didn't have a big fight scene. We had no fight scene. We had nothing. We had Harcourt verbally bully a guy at Big Belly Burger. By the way, we got to see Big Belly Burger. We got to see that. But was there a fight scene anywhere in the episode? Like anything? Did someone even like poke someone in the head? Like, was there anything in this series that gave an action vibe? I can't think of one. If you guys do, feel free to put it in the chat, but I don't think there was anything in the episode that was action based. So, overall for the season, I still think it was a good season, but the finale was awful. And it wasn't awful because the episode was awful, it was awful because it was a finale. If that was just part of a season, if that was episode 8 of 10, it's a good episode. It's fine. But the fact that it's episode 8 of 8 makes it an awful episode. Yeah. As for season 3. We will get to season 3 talk after I catch up to chat again. Would love to have seen a door to the 5th dimension. Okay. I also don't think it makes sense that Chris would be allowed to out on bail. Yeah, the bail thing was weird. I do agree on that. Given him being considered a major threat by Argus for multiverse shenanigans. Yeah, the bail one was a weird thing, and I realized I needed a way to get him out of jail and all that, but that was a weird decision. A weird writing decision, I mean, not a weird decision by Leota and Adrian. James Gunn revealed in his post-mortem interview one door he wanted to do was open and was opened. Let me try that in English now. Revealed in his post-mortem interview, one door he wanted to do was open it and see Deadpool. Don't think you're going to get that. He even talked to Ryan Reynolds about it. Ryan loved the idea and wanted to do it, but, yeah, the but is the problem. That would have been awesome, though. That would have been awesome. Well, that and Peacemaker getting taken. Wait, I missed a comment from you. Since Peacemaker did not land, what does Lanterns and Supergirl need for you to see them as a success? Well, Lanterns is a TV series. Just be entertaining and don't fumble the finale. I think the finale makes or breaks people's opinions on a season more than the rest of the season. Think of how many seasons you've watched where, exactly like Peacemaker, where 7/8 of the season, you're like, this is good to above good. And then the finale doesn't hit the mark, and your last impression of the season is that, and you're like, oh, this season was terrible. Even though for 7/8 of the season, you thought it was at least good. It's happened a lot. Happened to me several times. So, yeah, that's what my advice to Lanterns would be. For Supergirl, make money. Make money and you are a success. Plain and simple when it comes to movies. Movies are a very black and white, easy to solve thing. Money made equals success. Doesn't matter if your IMDb score is 9.7 if you made $45. Doesn't matter. On the other end, your movie could have a 2.7 but make $1 billion. At the end of the day, your movie's a success based on Hollywood standards. Excuse me. Well, that and Peacemaker getting taken. I don't know what that was in reference to. How many episodes did season need? 10. 10. We were not at the end, or they fumbled the end because Peter Safran is a fucking moron. Hi, Peter. There were many big hoops to make that a DC Marvel crossover. Yeah, a plethora of problems would have existed. Wonder what Marvel would have asked for in return for that. Like, who would DC have had to allow them to use to get Deadpool for a DC show? I mean, Deadpool is probably their biggest character right now. Right now. I'm not talking 10 years ago when Iron Man existed. I'm talking right now. Deadpool is probably their biggest character. So, I mean, do you have to give them Batman? Or Superman? Like that. That's kind of the thing, right? YouTube being weird. Missing comment was them destroying imps to escape. Okay, now that I have some context, let me go back and read your comment. Can you maybe post it again? Or did I? Is it here and I just missed it altogether? No, I did not. I did not miss it. It's not there. Yeah, can you try reposting it? Maybe see if there's a word that triggered something and change that. Batman. Yeah, I agree. Abby, I think Batman would probably be the most probable thing they would have to give up, or Superman. All right, so let's chat season 3. Caught up to here. Season 3. So officially, James Gunn has said there is no plans yet for a season 3. I kind of don't buy that. The reason I don't buy that is he clearly set up a season 3. Like, he didn't even tiptoe around it. He just laid right out, come back for season 3. If there's not a season 3, that is then goes down as one of the worst finales of all time. And I don't think James Gunn wants to end his baby project on the worst finale of all time. I do not think that is something he wants laying at his feet as the head of DC trying to make this universe happen. I don't think that's what he wants. He can deal with one of the worst finales of a season. Sure, he can deal with that. But worst finale territory of all time for a series? He doesn't want that. He doesn't want that on his resume. So there will be a season 3. He may not have it planned out yet because he's thinking the next Superman thing. He's thinking this. He's got 2 other projects he's probably thinking of. It might not be on his plate yet. We might have to wait 3 years for season 3, but we will get a season 3 because he doesn't want on his resume worst series finales of all time area on there. Just doesn't want it. People theorize Checkmate show, but that sounds like Peacemaker season 3 without Peacemaker. Yeah, I mean, I'd watch Checkmate only because I am involved with those other characters, but I want Peacemaker season 3 more than Checkmate season 1. Just straight up. Yeah. It's like when The Boys did Gen V. I wanted the next season of The Boys more than that first season of Gen V. Even after watching Gen V, I still wanted that season of The Boys more than that season of Gen V. Yeah, spin-offs are not usually as enjoyable as the original. So yeah, I am very solidly on the idea. I think there's going to be a season 3, especially with how poorly season 2's finale went for him. I don't know if there is a dispute between him and Safran at the moment. Like, I don't know if there is some type of tension there and what may come of that. But it is obvious from this one thing you have told me about Peter Safran now, is that he should never be involved in the decision making of a project ever. James Gunn's the creative mind. James Gunn's the one that comes up with ideas. What the fuck is the guy who just has money sticking his fucking nose in this? This is like, so I come from, sports is my background before all of this. There was an owner, there's actually been a couple now for our local hockey team who have stuck their nose in situations that they didn't have any input on. And it's kind of fucked with the team because they wanted something that wasn't good for the chemistry of the team. Peter Safran is the owner equivalent of that. He knows fuck all about the product. Only thing Peter Safran knows is how many dollar bills come in from it. Everything else Peter Safran has to contribute to that is not useful. James Gunn should have known that too. James Gunn should have stood up. James Gunn should have been like, you know what? You know fuck all. Like, he should have just said, dude, I do this as a job. Your job is to write checks. Write the fucking check. I'll do the job. Your co-CEO, man, have a backbone. Yeah. This Peter Safran thing, now that I know this, really fucking angers me. Let's see what else chat's got to say. Yeah, I think there'll be a season 3. We just might have to wait longer than we ever really should. And that is a problem. That is a problem, but it is what it is. I think Peacemaker thing will be referenced whenever Salvation shows up next. But if it wasn't for that, I think the series would have wrapped up on a good note with respect to the characters. Yeah, I think if they had wrapped it up at the end of that walking out checkmate thing, great. I would say not perfect, but a notable step up from how it ended. And it does lead into the checkmate season then. Fine. But you didn't. You didn't stop there. How I Met Your Mother did. You said sports is your background. Which sport? Oh, so many. I played a lot of sports when I was a kid. I was very competitive. But the ones that I had most success at, track and field, soccer, somewhat with tennis, softball. Those are the ones like I competitively was in. But then, you know, I was a exceptionally good hockey player, except for the fact I couldn't skate or shit. Couldn't even stand on them for more than a couple of seconds at a time. All the athletic skill I had in the world, couldn't fucking skate or shit. So floor hockey, ball hockey, amazing. If those were pro leagues, I could have probably gone pro at that. But unfortunately, ice hockey, you need to skate. They won't allow you to glide around on your shoes, which I could do. Yeah. You know, I played a few others, soccer. You know, I said I never played more than like half a season of football because I did not like getting hit that hard. I played football for a little while. Didn't like it just because it was too aggressive for me. Basketball I played. I was very good in some parts of basketball. Not the best shooter though. So yeah. I just saw that you have a new pair of glasses. Hey, I get new pairs of glasses all the time. These are just cheap plastic ones, and they don't last forever. They last anywhere from a few weeks to a few months at a time. So I have several pair on standby in case the next ones break. So I'm changing glasses all the time. I actually do like these ones. I like this clear look that they have. I actually like that. When I put them on the first time, I was kind of weirded out by it, but like it felt like weird on the sides of my face. But now I like it. And I think I'll go pick up some more of this design. So yeah. But yeah, I do change glasses a lot because they don't last forever. They're cheap $2 glasses that or $1.50 actually even. So they don't last long. And that's fine. I don't need them to last forever, long as I have a stack of them ready to go when one breaks. Metahumans going in and removing a government from power may have been a line crossed for flag. Hawk Girl killed the president, for example. Yeah, sure. But we don't see the build up to that moment for him. We see a little bit in Superman at the end when he's like, you know, metahumans are running things now, blah, blah, blah. But we don't see that much of a rise getting there. I mean, I think that would have, I think for me personally, I think that had to have been played out more for them to get to that point. If that's their reasoning for him turning into an evil piece of shit, I don't think they sold it enough for me. How long would be too long for season 3? 5 years. If we don't have it in 5 years, then James Gunn just fucked up. I honestly think even 3 years is too long, but I think that's probably what we're going to get. You need DC to give you season 3, and I need Marvel to give me Armor Wars. I don't know what that is, but sure, we will. I will make that trade for you. You can have your Armor Wars if we get season 3. They even had that congressman of Senator tell Rick, I guess the meta. Yeah, I did just reference that. But I don't. That wasn't enough for me to be sold of Rick Flag turning into an evil monster. That just does not sell it enough for me. All I heard from reactors that watched Creature Commandos is that Rick Flag is a better person there. What happened? What happened in 3 series, or 1 movie and 1 series from the end of that? You didn't sell it enough for me. Like in this season, he was more obsessed with hating Peacemaker than Metas until Lex got involved. So yeah. What did you think of Peacemaker not seeing the mural of the I think Leota summarized it perfect when she was talking to Judo Master, and she said, I didn't say he's smart. I think personally, as a guy who has tunnel visioned on a few girls over the years, you're not looking at your periphery when the target of your obsession is in front of you. There could have been a fire over there, but if she's in front of you, you're probably just thinking about her. Doesn't mean he shouldn't have noticed, but it is the closest thing to an excuse I can come up with to justify it, because I know in my own personal life, there's been lots of times I've been oblivious to things around me because insert person is there. You know, guys are simple-minded that way. Hey, IC, how you doing? You're the only person that's been in my last 2 streams. Howdy, CG. Glad to catch you here. What ended up happening with those sports photos? Failed miserably. They did not come in that night. They chose to fly all the way home instead. And then they chose... the NHL has a rule for the regular season. And that rule is you must be in the night before the game, barring weather issues. However, in the preseason, which this was still a preseason game, no such rule exists. So the Oilers flew from Seattle, which is a 3-hour drive from here, all the way home, which is a 14-hour drive, 15 hours. They flew home and then didn't fly in till right before the game on game day. Game starts at 7:30 or 7 o'clock. They arrived in Vancouver at 3:45. So they didn't spend any time in Vancouver. I got royally fucked on that. So yeah, you got a free stream for nothing because I didn't actually have to leave the house. Maybe this is supposed to be kind of like how when Ray Nadeem partnered up with Wilson Fisk. Ray Nadeem. Oh, is that the FBI guy? Yes. Okay. I think I remember that character now. But this team up will eventually just get out of hand and Luther will take control. Yeah, Luther's already in control. Sydney's on the team. Otis is on the team. I think there's a third person on the team. We got a mention of McCoy. Is that Amanda McCoy? Was that who that was supposed to be? The one that had the paper pretending Chris signed it? Because he called her McCoy. I'm just assuming that's who it was. So yeah, he's already in charge. Finally watched Thunderbolts. Pretty solid. I do have to give it top summer movie of the year. Only downside is I felt the pacing kind of slow to where I was playing the X2 button. Also, what Arrowverse anniversary? Okay. I guess there could be times in the movie where that's a fair assessment. It's been a few months now since I've seen it, so I can't say off the top of my head I have one to just throw out, but fair enough. But it was a good movie, and you do agree top movie. Okay. What Arrowverse anniversary? Yesterday was the 13th year anniversary of Arrow pilot episode airing. So it's been 13 years since the Arrowverse started. Or if you want to be a nitpicker for details, 5 days ago or 6 days ago, the Flash season 1 aired. And so it's the 11-year anniversary of the Arrowverse, depending which one you consider the start of the Arrowverse. Is it the West Allen anniversary? Yeah, we're all here celebrating West Allen. Why would Man of Tomorrow be about Superman and Lex instead of Superman and Supergirl? No idea. I don't know. I don't know enough of the backstory to give you any idea about that. You know, I don't read comics. A couple of people already told me to read Salvation, and I'm like, if I read comics, Peacemaker presents Checkmate. Doesn't quite do it for me. I think it's better than just Checkmate, but doesn't quite. I just want Peacemaker season 3. Just call it Peacemaker season 3. I understand he will be part of an ensemble at that point. I don't know. I don't know, man. You know that one other viewer at the late night stream? That was one of the sports players watching you and wait down the pipe. That would have been pretty funny. Yeah, maybe it was. All right. So, final review of Peacemaker. The episode, as a finale, terrible. As an episode, okay. As a season, okay. I think the season was good before the finale, and then the finale dropped it down to okay. I think the episode is good as an episode, but being the finale drops it down to okay. Or bad, sorry. You know what I meant to say. I know I keep ranting about this, but Peter Safran never should have input on a project ever again. What do you think of the Prime Eagle and Red St. Clair stuff? I think it was St. Cloud, but I could be wrong. I think ultimately that was pointless. It was just to give Eagly something to do to make him look badass. Let's be honest. You're right. It had zero to do with the overall story of the season. That was just there in the middle for us to be like, oh, Eagly is awesome. And it did it. We all were hyped for Eagly at that point. Right? So it did what it was supposed to do. Crypto versus Eagly, who wins? I mean, Crypto is super powered, right? Eagly is just a physical eagle. And sure, Eagly is vicious, but can he beat up a super powered animal? Probably not. Yeah, I'd be hard pressed to even give King Shark a chance against Crypto because again, Crypto is super powered. If Crypto wanted to, he could just fly through King Shark and like gut him. You know? All right. Any last thoughts? Any last things? Anything I've missed that was in the episode or the season or just yapping? I'll give you guys a minute to think about it, and then I'm going to type in that sentence that everyone knows is coming. Gorilla Grodd versus Crypto. What then? Huh. Is Gorilla Grodd super powered? I know he has the ability to like mind control, but is he super powered? I guess that is a superpower, right? He could he mind control Crypto though? I mean, Crypto doesn't speak English, so can he even communicate with Crypto? Like, does he know what woof woof means or woof woof? Like, I don't know how he mind controls Crypto. I don't think he can speak dog. I could probably still go with Crypto. No other thoughts? All right. With that, I'm going to write in that sentence everyone knows is coming, unless you have a last thought to throw in. To woof or not to woof? Exactly, that is the question. From this point onward, any comments that are not super chats will probably be ignored as the stream is about to conclude. And ... send ? Question mark? There it is. All right, we have no more comments. None of you wrote anything clever or witty last minute to say. I'll give a few more seconds in case someone was close to finishing their comment. But in like 10 seconds, if it's not on the screen, I'm assuming you didn't. All right. Looks like we have concluded this little chit chat. If there's any topics that were on the screen that you're like, I didn't see what you had to say, you can go back, play it through from the start of the video. Most of the other topics outside of Peacemaker, we fired off in the first 10-15 minutes of the stream. And maybe 20 minutes, because I forgot the first 5 minutes was me being confused that the stream had already started. I forgot about that already. There was some stream issues at the start. So yeah. I still think Peacemaker as a season was good, but not great. And it would have been very good if they landed the finale. And they didn't. Season 1 was great. Actually, maybe even amazing. Season 2 was good, but had the potential to be very good if they had just stuck the landing on the finale. If they'd even taken out that last 45 seconds, that last 45 seconds probably could have got them a very good. All right, so I think we wrap this up with final thoughts being Peter Safran is a moron. James Gunn needs to have a backbone. Just tell the guy, dude, you're fucking a money guy. Just tell him that, man. Put him in his place. Would Peter Safran... James, it's me. We've met before. All right, so now that I know you're watching, would Peter Safran take your advice on where to invest money? Serious question. Because if he's not, why the fuck are you taking his advice on what to do with the creative side? All right, that's it for today, guys. Thanks everyone for coming by. I don't know when the next stream is since there's nothing new coming out now. Maybe I watch Gen V finally. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. But thanks everyone for coming by, and I will see you all in the future. Whenever that is. Maybe it'll be in 4 years or 5 years or 6 years when Peacemaker Season 3 finally comes out. All right. Bye.